Okay, our session for today, which is planned for 3 hours, and also a small break in between. Today we will be talking about the contract master and the price agreement, as well as the container management. If we have time, otherwise we can continue tomorrow. I will go to the group 45. 45, you find all the relevant master data for the sales module of the system. Here you find, for example, basic data, EDI, container, text modules, code table management, which you don't use it. Parts master, the carriers that we saw last time. We also hear the customer master, which we did before. And we have today the contracts management. Yeah, the contracts management is set up a relationship between a customer and a part number. A customer, more specific, a shipping address. I type in here now, which is the contracts management, and press enter. So the first screen is empty, but if I hit the enter key, then you will get displayed all your contracts in the system. So different letters, yes? This L is for delivery schedule. This red means that this contract for delivery schedule is not active. Maybe it's blocked for any reason or is not used anymore. And then we hear an E, and this E is for single orders. Okay, so it is important to know L for delivery schedules, E single orders. Okay. In this screen, I get displayed all the contracts that we have in the system, or I can type it here, the partner I am looking for, or the customer number if I know it better, or customer number, which shipping point if I also have it, yes, and so get displayed specifically the contracts that I would like to see. Also, F3 selection key. If I press F3, then I get displayed this window. And in this window, I could also would like to see the contract of X or part numbers with the person in charge Y, or can only say I only want to see contracts only required. If I put a number 1 here, what is meaning only if required? That means that I can see here in this display, you can see here no requirement, and so on. And if I go back with F1, there are no requirements, and if I continue forward, I might the contract requirements, yes? So that's what I do when I hit the F3 key. So now that this loads in, so of contracts without requirement. Key again. I have it already. I hit third key, and then I get displayed all these contracts with a requirement. I cannot see that at the first time, but what I can see at the first sight is that it's not no requirement within these contracts. Yes. And F10 key, which is for a second view. That means in this is just the part number, and I see also customer part number, the name of the customer, and if I press F10, then you will see that the view is changing until 3 views, yes? In the next view, I can see what I have in this contract for requirements. In this case, when I see, remember, SAB is the German abbreviation for cost, and then here the quantity I have as requirement in cost and the information for the shipping point and the customer. So I hit again the key F10, yes, the view 3, and view 3 is just changing also a little bit, yes. So as I told you, FAB is for cloth, and LAB is the German abbreviation for delivery schedule, yes. And here you have the total requirement, which is in this contract. Okay. This would be so much regarding this screen and the information that is displayed here. You also have the F6 key, which to create a new contract. And F6, then type in the part number and link it to a customer and to a shipping point. Yes, and then we would continue with the next mask. Before we go to the next mask, I also would like to show you, for example, also in the system, when you are in this mask where you can put an option here, if you hit letter like N, yes, or like O or P or a letter that we don't use as selecting criteria, and hit the enter, you will see that here on the bottom you get this message displayed, which is select valid. Of course, that's what I wanted. I wanted something which is not valid, so that I see what are my possible. Yes. So as you can see, we have A, we have B, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, a question mark, and so on. Yes. So that means that all of these values are used for a function here. For example, let's see, if I set this one with an A, what I say is this part number and the contracts with the different custom shipping points, as you can see here. Yes, I go back with F1, then I will set with the letter B. The letter B, what you can see is the deliveries that have been done for this part number to this customer and this shipping point. And here on the top right, you can always see what is your customer and your shipping point. You have all the header information. And then here you can see, for example, your delivery day, the shipping document number, the invoice, and if it was issued. If not, then you wouldn't see here anything because this is still open to be invoiced. But I suppose you always print the invoice before the shipments are leaving. And then you can see here the quantity of the delivery and cumulative number and the value. In this mask, you can also get displayed some other information, but we will continue with contracts. This I will show you in another session. So I go back then with F1, and remember, if I just want to have a look at the deliveries here, I can select with a B, okay? The number 1 and the number 2 are made. If I select with 1, then I get into the contract, as well as if I select with the number 2, I also get into the contract. Then you might know it already. This is to copy the rest. That means if I select it with the 3 and I hit the enter key, then you can say I would like to copy this contract for this, but with a different customer number, or for this customer number for shipping point 2, or for a different part number, but with this customer and this shipping point, and so on. Yes. If you, when you copy something, you set here contract, that means that you want to copy also the price agreement. If you container, you will also copy the container allocation for this contract. And if it's here external service provider, you would also copy the allocation of the external service provider. That means you would copy the whole contract with price agreement and all possible allocations. Yes? If I hit Enter, sorry, I cannot because it's the same one. I cannot copy the same one. And as I don't know your data, I don't know what other part numbers you might have, so I will better not. If you hit enter and you have the correct information, then you would get displayed the name mask of the contract. Yes? So this is the number 3 to copy a record or a contract. Number 4, which is to erase, but you can erase if you have requirements. You can only erase when nothing has happened in this contract. We also have number 5. With the number 5, you get displayed your requirements. Yes? So as you can get displayed the requirements for this part number with this customer. And then we have the number 6. Yes? With the number 6, you get here displayed a mask where you can look for some other information. Yes? You can look for part number, or with the container information, or with the RAN number, vehicle ID, delivery date, and so on. These criteria, then you can look for information. Then 7, this is just allocated, but sorry, it's not allocated. That's why it's displayed the error message. Then we have the 8. Yes, she's going also like number 1. The 9, which is shortly the price agreement. Familiar with this contract, you might know that when you access with number 1 or select with number 1, first you get displayed this mask, which is the contract, the conditions, and so on. And then if you hit enter, then you get displayed the price agreement. So another way that you can get displayed the price agreement directly is selecting it with 9, and then you get directly into the price agreement. Yes? Also the question mark. If you select with a question mark, you can display your info tool. And say, okay, for this part number, I would like to see, for example, my, and then you display this. You can call this info tool always in main screens as well with this question mark here. Okay. So we continue with the first mask of the contract. I will select it with a number 1. And as here, this is saying they are all delivery schedules. And this is what I set up in the contract itself. So what first? First, I have this header information where I have my part number and description and all the information of the customer and the shipping address. Yes, here you can see customer shipping address. And so on. Then we have customer part number. This is our part number displayed here, and this is the customer part number. We also have the customer drawing number that you could type here, and then we have the part number order EDI. And this is a very, very important field for linking the EDI messages when they come for the first time, because the system is looking at this specific field and is comparing it with the part number in the EDI message. So if this this number is not correct here, the system will never find the contract which is belong to this EDI message. So this is very important. So some customers I recall, they, for example, the EDI part number with one space to the list. Very important that you type it in exactly like that with this space to the left, yes? Because as I told you, this is a very important field for linking the message with your contract. We have here also this release date, and also here, as I told you before, in all the master data that we've been going through, if you press the key Alt and F1, you get displayed the information of the field. This release date is the release date from the customer. Yes, and this is for the creation purposes. I go back, and then we have these customers PIC. So let's see, this PIC is the person in charge, but you might not know it, and ask yourself, what is this? Alt F1, and then it displays the information that it's the charge. Okay? We said before, remember that we have the planner and the person in charge. In this customer's person in charge, that means you're contact with the customer who is sending you the information for the contract. Order, you can also type in your name, information. Customer addition, you can also type of an addition information from customer. Right? This reason. This reason is when we account with the question mark, I get displayed the code table 54 with codes for calls. Yes? And you can see you can block it completely. You can block it for quality assurance. You can only for shipment, but that means you would still continue receiving, for example, your delivery schedule, but you'll be able to ship material. And you can supply. What is this locking batch supply? This is to our shipment mode, yes? Depending on the kind of shipments we are working with in the system, there are different ways of shipping parts. Yes, we have the conventional one. We have also the logistic shipping. We have the scanning and shipment and so on. And in this case, in the logistic shipping, we have mailbox. Yes, where first there is a job which is running, and it's having a look at the requirements of the customers, and then information, he would put this information in a mailbox where it's saying, okay, you have to deliver all these part numbers, yes? And what I do here to block and batch supply is that I say this number for this customer and the shipping point should not be displayed in this mailbox. For yes, that's what it means to block and batch supply, okay? Do you have any questions? Questions so far? So then I continue. This production and material release in months. Yes, this is information about the time you need to release production and material in months. That means this is an information that you have available in fact in order to know how much time you need for customer since came in, you have to calculate your material release and then your production release, and this is you can add here in the system. It's not calculating anything, it's just information. Let's code in this field question mark. We have two options, the current and the internal. That means here I can set off if I am using the lot of the customer or my internal lot. Yes? Or you can do it without any information. The lot size, yes, we said, okay, first the lot code is this internal or customer load size, and then the lot size, that is 100 per package or whatever size is, you can type it in here. So we have the next field where we have the planning mode, and this one is the field which is displaying. If you go back with F1, set here I have delivery schedule, so that ICT's L, because I have here in planning mode the number 1 delivery schedule. Yes. What are options we have in planning mode? With question mark, you can get them displayed. Oh, so I have to go back. So, excuse me, if you can put your muting everything in the call so that we don't have all external. So now we have the planning mode. So planning mode with question mark, then we can get displayed what we have as planning mode. We have the delivery schedule, the L, then we have the blanket orders, and well, this is not blanket orders. This is also a wrong translation, as number 2 is not a blanket order, but a single order. Yes, the difference between 2 and 3. The 3 is with contract. That means the system will always check the price in the contract, and it will only take the one which is valid at the moment of delivery. And number 2, which is only single order, not blanket order, but single order. We have single orders, and the price on the contract, or we could use a different price than the one in the contract. That's the difference between number 2 and number 3. But the delay in the first screen for both 2 and 3 would be the E for others, and the M for the for the other planning mode. Yes. Then we have the deadline type. Yes. In deadline type, for example, in this contract you have day dates for quantities. If I display the values with a question mark, you will see you have day dates, you have week dates, and you have mixed deadlines. That would be days and weeks. What is meaning? This is what is managing that when you go into your customer order, you get only day dates, or you get week dates, or you get mixed. Yes. So this is what where you can set it up. Okay. In this case, you have day dates. Then we have the EDI transfer. Yes. With a question mark, we see what is this EDI transfer. We have one no copy or delete. If I receive an EDI message for this contract, I don't want to have it in my system. I just want it to be deleted, and nothing will be integrated in the system. The note means move to mailbox. That means when we receive a customer order color kettle. When I into the system and I say move to mailbox, that means this is not going to be automatically integrated in your system. That means this will come first into a mailbox with where the person in charge, where the planner is going to display, prove, and release them. Yes. Or have also the automatic transfer, which is in this contract, for example, and this means when the EDI message call off or delivery schedule is coming into the system, must be automatically integrated in the system, which might also be possible that it goes into the mailbox if there is any matching criteria which is not correct. That means if the last delivery number is not matching with my last delivery number, or my cumulative number is not matching with the one of the customer and so on, even though you put in your contract automatic transfer, could be that it goes to the mailbox if something is not matching. Yes? And you can also always go back to the mailbox, because I would like to have a look at this before I integrate it in my system. So this is also an important field for the of the EDI orders. This application, in this case we have an S for series production part. If you go question mark, you can see that you have also, for example, you can create a contract for spare parts, for prototypes, for samples, series action part, series and spare part trial, and others. Yes? So these are all the possibilities you have in your system adding your code table 51. Okay? So you normally work with series production parts. So with that. And interval, yes. If I go with a question mark, you would see that in this code table 50, we have different as well, which is no agreement in accordance with the code, monthly, daily, you get monthly deliverables or daily or weekly, or no agreement. Yes, normally for series parts you have no agreement, because if your orders are set up by the customer. Then the right side is processing field. And this is also a very important field, because I am setting up the type of procedure which system we use to work with this customer. Normally you have the standard development, but you can also have special cases or special processes like one you know very well, the Honda processing, for example. Or there is also specific processing for RAM processing, or for Opel, my pickup, that's a process used in Europe mostly, and so on. Yeah, so this is very important in order to set up the kind of process that will happen for this contract, yes, and how the system will work and integrate the orders from the customer to correct integrate the system. So with F1, in this we have a standard process. Continue here on the bottom with the fields. We have the index, engineering index, that you can type in here. You can type in here as well if you have a new index and the date when this is going to be valid. Yes, and you can here set up the number of copies you want to print of the document within index. So if I enter, then I get this small window, and this is also very important information that you have to set up in the contract. so that you get printed collective invoices. Yes, that means many part numbers, one document. Or you print it daily. Next, our seller, who is the person who is in charge of the quantities and the dates for the delivery, and the in charge, which is the person who is in charge of the and price for this contract. I have here this application field. With on, we can see this part application. If your customer sends a part application flag, this can be set or manually entered here by XEDI. Honestly, I have never seen any customer getting any information from customer that is being set up here in applications. I don't know if you have contracts like this, but I don't think so. And then we have this cost unit with a question mark. Then get displayed all the cost units that you have in the are added in the code table 44, and you can select the one that is corresponding this contract and terminated part. If this is a part number, which will be soon a terminated part, I have to go back to this one first. No, it was here. Was it L here? What was the value here? Because I just put the question mark and I didn't put an L here. So if it's a terminated part, then up here, and you would see this information in other masks in the system. Then we have here the sales representatives and the corresponding commissions that you also set up in the custom master, and you would see also this information here. Then we have this OCPS and IV. This is order confirmation from it's the document. Sorry, I have to see how they call it here. Packet slips. This is packet slips, and this one ID for invoice. Yes, and here you can set up the number of copies you would like to print of each document, packing slip or invoices. Yes, you can set it up in the customer master, but set it up in the customer master and set it up as well here. This is the value that the system will look at first. If you don't put anything here, then he will take the value from the customer's master. These two fields, if you allow an oversupply or a supply shortage, and what percent. So now enter import, enter, and then we get here a lot of fields that you have depending on the processing of contract, which is mainly coming, the information that you get displayed here is changing from contract to contract based on the company group of the customer's master. Yes, I will show you what I mean. The customer's master in the A to our customer Chrysler. Last time we were working with this one, the first one. And then if you remember, we have here a common 803. Yes. So depending on this value here, you find information, you will get different information displayed in your, yes, for example, in this case, we have the 803, which corresponds to Chrysler. Now, with one, add my contract. Type in here this customer 3001, and let's on end, you don't have any with requirements. Doesn't matter, we take one of these. So you get different fields, and in this case you have only 2 marks with this field, the other one was more than 2. And what is this? This is used for setup of different informations or different processing that you have according to the customer. Yes. You can set up if it's a time-related delivery. If you have a main warehouse, you can put it here. If you're generating automatic pick lists, which I think is what you use, for example, for Honda, that you create an automatic pick list. So you set it up here that you want to have an automatic pick list. Is this going to be a delivery which will be calculated with the batch? I like to have the quantities rounded to full containers. Lead time, it's available. If we're lucky, we get information here, but normally these are so many fields and they are so variable that don't have an explanation behind each field. Yes. Stock location you can set up here. No delivery note EDI, for example, if it's a part number that you are delivering but you're not sending an ASN, then you can block it here. If you're a number 1, then it would not issue a delivery note EDI. As an invoice EDI, of course, if you think this, it will be sent. You have the EDI master data, yes? If you have any master data in the system, then it will not issue any document anyway. So you also have this collecting slip, Chrysler cost of packing. So everything is empty. I suppose you are not using this. Aside on the company group, you can see it here. This is the 803. Now let's go to another contract, for example, for Honda, so that you see the difference. Take the first one. So now Honda, we don't have 803, but we have 052. And as you can see here, the fields are already different than the one before. Yes? So we have must with fields. And this we have the forward number, for example, here, because this is this might be sent with the ASN. That's why you need this information here, the country of origin, the country of origin EDI, because this information is taken by the system and is put in the ASN, because the guidelines for Honda are saying I want to have this and this and this information. Yes. For example, what I told you here, you are generating automatic distance. You have a main warehouse for Honda in this case. This is necessary for the Honda processing. That's it. Yes. So remember, always these fields are variable fields depending on the company group you set up in the customer's master. Okay. we will not see in detail all of them. Yes, I don't know in detail all of them, but if there's a specific field where you yourself, what is this for? Could we use this field for something, or any question that you have regarding this variable field, you can contact me and I will be glad to help you. So now continue. Next mask. First comes message display, which is it, general price agreement, yes or no. If it's no, then it will be valid for all my part numbers for this customer, no matter what shipping point. And if I say no general, then I could set up a different price agreement for different shipping points. Yes, in case you have a number 1, which is meaning this is a general price agreement, and then we get displayed the second part of our contract, which is the price agreement. So with the price agreement, I would like to go back to the contract mask, just to explain to you the function keys that you have here on the bottom. You can do with F2 the customer's master, F2, yes, and here you will get displayed information about your customer. So when I go back, then we have our info tool. With F5, I can call the info tool and get display other different information about the stock on hand, or the routings, or bill of materials, and so on. With F5, with 12, I get display more different function keys, and I see this F8. This 8 is when you are working with external service providers. Yes, you remember I told you, deliver your parts to a warehouse, and then your customer is taking the quantities warehouse. You are working with an external service, and you do the allocation here with the key F8. Yes, you get displayed here this small window, and then you have one more key function here, F6. I can look for a customer which is marked as an ESP in the customer's master. Yes, if you remember, we had this field for ESP where we can mark this customer as an ESP, and then I can list it here in the contract, okay, with F8. But you don't work with this, so I need to speak longer about this. So this one is the F11, which is for the container allocation. If I have F11, I get displayed the mask where I do the container allocation. For example, in this case, I send 30 pieces in one H02 test container. Yes, so this is what my package looks like for this part number. Yes, here I could add other different versions, but we will talk about container management afterwards. So I now with F1 back. The container management can be done here in the contract with F11 or in the container management module that we will see later. We have here a function key F20, F8, which is to see who was the person this contract and when, and who was the last one to change this contract. In this case, was me today. Okay. And I can go back, and with Shift 12, I can. That's all the key functions that I had here. So with Enter, Enter again, enter, and now let's go to the price agreement. So here we can also get displayed our customer master, our info tool, and with 6 we can create a new price agreement when this one is not anymore, like this is the case here, yes, but this is a test part. So first, let's see what we have options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1 and 2 is to select the price, 3 to copy it to create a new one, then number 4 to erase it, and then number 5 only display it. Yes. So number 1, I get into the screen. So as you can see, this one is not valid anymore. So I can do it with a number 3. I can copy it and I just change my validity begin on 2000. For example, and the rest remains the same price, nothing changed, or maybe the price just changed to 0.02, for example. I change what I would like to change, and then I can compare it. Oh, first the month, and then it's the yes. Here some text. I will talk about this. Enter, and I have copied a new one, yes, which is valid now. So you can see here, the red one is red, the one which is not valid anymore is white, yes. Then I can, with a 4, I can erase the one that I just created. I confirm it with F4, and I can erase it as long as no deliveries have happened with this contract. Yes, that's why I could erase it, otherwise you are not able to erase it. So now here display our contract with 5 into the mask, and you can only see, but you cannot change information. Okay, if you go back, now I get into the price agreement. With 1 or with 2 is the same, and we see the fields that we have here. We have here the validity from 2, the order number, yeah, the document number of your customer, what the price agreement is. You can reference Mr. Smith and a date, for example, the date offer or the purchase order. And then here you have the terms of payment, the terms of shipment, and yes, okay, terms of payment is clear, terms of shipment is clear, carrier. Remember, here set up which one will be the carrier which should be shown in the deliveries mask. But it's enough that you put the carrier, but also remember that you have to set up the master data of the carrier with the allocation to the customer with F8 that we talked about this last time. Yes? So with question mark, then I can select here who is my, for example, Alex. Yes? And then when I do delivery, this will be the carrier which will be displayed in the mask. But if it's not allocated to the customer with F8 in the carrier master, then an error message will come, which will be saying that this carrier is not allocated to the customer. Okay. So here we have the customer share. That's, for example, that you are delivering this part in a percentage only. Maybe there is another supplier who is delivering 20% or 50%, and you have got only 50% of the market for this part number. Then you could put it 50%. The total requirement here you could set up, for example, if the purchase order was for 500,000. You could type in here for 500,000. It's only informative it isn't to set up or something like that. It's just information that you can add to the price agreement. Yes, and then you can see here the has been shipped. Yes, so here you would have the total requirement. Here you would have what has been shipped already. Here, if you would like to print the purchase order confirmation, you want to print this document, you would put a P here. They have the price per 1 piece, per 2 piece, per 1 piece, per 10 pieces, per 100 pieces, and so on. And then here, the currency, which in this case, Mexican pesos. Then you can also add here with a question mark if you're expecting a certificate, yes. Or certificate. So for what I can see, you don't use this for the certificate. That's the code table 35, which is empty. Then you have the invoice code, yes. You have okay, invoices. Normally you have other 3 to 4 more options, yes, if you are working with credit notes, for example, or if you want to generate automatically the invoice after the shipment, but you do invoices in the mailbox and then you release them, and you only have this option available. So, the price, here you break. That means you have prices, for example, on 1,000 pieces, this price, until 10,000 is another price, and 100,000 is another price, and so on. And here you can set up if it's mark, you see if it's the quantity or from quantity. That means to 1,000 is this price, or from 1,000 is this price. Yes, that's what this means. Oh, sorry. And then we have here the surcharges and discounts that you could add to your contract. Normally in automotive, as I know, a price per part which is already including packaging, transportation, or maybe the materials being picked up and so on. So you don't normally need to add charges or discounts. Yeah? But anyway, you have this possibility here with a question mark. You can take one of the surcharges or discounts set up in code table 15. Yes? Let's take this for example. Menu, for example, this is a surcharge. I can say for 10% surcharge, or I can say as well 10 euro or US dollar or whatever you want, and then per on this one. Sorry. Currency code. Okay, I'm suspecting because US dollar is okay. So you can dollar or say 10%. Okay, and so you could add a surcharge or more than. I go with F1. I don't want to save it here. For the price agreement, as you can see, you could see deliveries with F8. There you see the deliveries that have been done. And for example, in this case, you don't have the run number for this one. And you get information about deliveries, yes? And also, see this price agreement and who last changed it. So I go one, enter, and then we get to the screen where we have our text. For example, here we can add text modules with a question mark. These text modules are created previously in the modules math, and then you could add one text here, which you got for this number, for this cost and shipping point. I would like to get printed this text in invoices, for example. Yes, here with a question mark, I can see what are the possibilities. So as you can see, R is the German abbreviation for invoice, and then you have also, for example, the contract, packing slip, pickup sheets, and so on. You can put any internal comment or marks regarding this part number, this custom, this shipping point. This is internal information, which is only going to be displayed here in the price agreement, but it's not going to be printed anywhere. Okay? With 13, you can add here the text for the information that you would like to print with F1, and you could put the test, for example. Okay? Then if I press enter, I see it displayed here. Text on confirmation, order confirmation contract. I'm not going to do anymore because it's a real system, even though I think this is a test part, but I want to change anything. So the last would be now to press enter again, and then would be finished with your contract. I go back with F1 as I don't want to change anything at all. So see the information regarding our contractor data, where you have the price and conditions between part number and customer and its shipping point. Do you have any questions regarding this topic? No questions? Brian? Okay, Brian, if we do a short break?
Yes, I think they have a question.
Oh, I have the question.
Sorry.
Tell me your question. Sorry?
We're good. Next question.
Okay, to have a break, 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so then see you at 18:10, let's say. It's not completely 10 minutes, but at 18:10, oh, sorry, what time is with you in Mexico? So in 10 minutes we continue, okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the question?
Okay, in the pricing agreement, when we set up a new part number.
Sorry, can you put muting to the music?
It's not coming from our end.
Okay. Okay.
In Mexico to pay?
I'm watching if it's not. No. That's a telephone, I think.
Fatma, is that you? Can you see who's logged in, Edith?
Sorry?
Can you see who's logged into the session on your main screen?
I can what?
On the main screen of the WebEx, it shows who's logged in. I want to see who else is logged into the session.
Okay. Can you see it?
No.
We have calling user 2. we have Michelle and Nelly.
Ellie.
Okay, that was, yeah, I could mute it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Can you hear us still? Can we continue with the question?
I muted this, yes. So,
Okay.
yes, we have two visions for empty containers. Yes, that's the number 9. And you could do with create with F6. You can say, okay, for customer Chrysler, I would like to require container PLT with the container and the number and receipt. Yes, and you can print this and send this to your customer. Yeah, if you would like to request for containers, normally the customer is sending them to you at the moment when they are empty. Normally, I think, or that you normally do a request for empty containers. You know how this works in the real life, but it would be possible as well. And you could also do a requisition for empty container via EDI. Yes. Of course, for this, you can use the company group, container company group, which you remember a field that we talked about when we were talking about the customer master. Yes, when we talked about the customer master, there was a CT company group, container company group field, where you could add different groups for the different customers. So
We don't use this, Edith.
if you don't use it, it would be possible, but I think you don't use it. That's true. Okay, so then we have stock transactions. I already showed you this one. How you book the container, view the different container movements that delivering, and then here you have some printing functions. Yes, to print, for example, the transaction error. That means what you get displayed here in container transaction errors, you can also print it here. You can also print a container requirement summary, yes, which is done according to your next delivery. Yes, you could say, for this week, for example, I would like to know what containers I need to have on stock so that I am able to deliver to my customer. And here you could issue a list which tell you, okay, you need this and this and this container. Of course, the important or condition for this is that you do the container allocation so that the system knows what is the container that you are needing for your deliveries. Then you can also print the container count. Then you can also print the container stocks, for example, when you do your inventory. And so that would be all for container group, but this is something that you don't need to know. Do you have questions regarding the container management? Okay, if there are no questions, then on for today. Okay, we're done for today. Thank